Time for Pop Pop Plays.
Good morning and welcome to Pop Pop Plays. Today we are going to take a look at Total War Warhammer 3 with the new patch 4.2.0 build where they added some extra stuff to the last DLC. I'm really excited to kind of dive in and check out the three factions here. I have played the earlier DLC without the update from today. This morning we're going to start with the Changeling. We'll start a new campaign, Evil Empires.
In the name of Magnus.
In the name of Magnus, I'm sure. We're looking for Siege, and we're looking for the Changeling.
Deceiving horror of Zenith.
I like his campaign. It is kind of one of those that's kind of hard to go back to and replay because it's a little samey. But I do enjoy the kind of skulking around and hiding aspect of it. I do play on normal and normal, at least for today. I find campaign difficulty, sometimes I can get up to hard, but depending on what I'm playing, that can be a challenge. Battle difficulty, I usually leave on normal. Anything higher than that tends to be a bit of a slog for me. I enjoy the game, but I don't need to be stressed out too much playing it. We will play Trigger on Long Victory and not turn range for the end game. If we actually get up to that point, we'll just leave all the scenarios running. We won't really change much of any of the rest of this. Turn range timer is fine. It kind of depends on the campaign that I'm playing, but I usually prefer Long Victory, especially for the Changeling, because it's got a very specific set of goals that you hit, and then a final campaign end battle. And so to do the end game after that final campaign battle would be, I think, more fun than just having it randomly show up if it happens to do so. Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm looking forward to the new flying ranged unit. That seems like a lot of fun. One of my favorite units from this probably are the Flamers and the Exalted Flamers, and I forget what they're called, but the little guys on the discs of Zinch that shoot flame. They don't have a lot of ammo, but they do a lot of damage. So the Flamers on the discs, I'm really excited to see that. I heard somebody pointed out they wish they could change which area of the map you start on every time you start a new campaign with the Changeling, and I get that, and I actually kind of agree with that. Starting on the Empire, in the Empire area every time is a little, I don't know if I'd say boring, but certainly it kind of makes it harder to go back and replay this guy's campaign. I will be doing a pop-up plays with Mother Estancia and with the Cathay stuff as well, so look for those on our YouTube channel. I don't know when exactly they will be going up, as this episode is literally the first one that we will be doing, and I'm not sure when these are actually going to be going up, so we'll figure that out as we go along. And next week, the Age of Wonders 4 is coming out with their next DLC, the Primal Fury, I think is what it's called, and I'm really excited to play that, so they will be doing a entirely different game next week. The plan with this is to do about an hour at a time in the three different campaigns. We'll see if we actually complete the campaigns or just do a short victory. I'm not quite sure yet. Kind of depends on how excited I am. I'm not running any mods for this except for one that disables the splash screen, which you wouldn't have even seen, and the other one is the better camera mod in battle, so that we have more range of where the camera can go, which playing battles without that is not my favorite. I had been getting into mods fairly recently with a bunch of different stuff just to kind of mess around with either armies that I've played a lot or armies that I don't like very much. Some of them are definitely overpowered, but I do like adding extra regiments of renown or extra units that normally the armies wouldn't get. But with this, we're just going to play straight up because we want to see kind of how new DLC additions will just kind of work with the base game. I like Tzeentch. Currently, that's probably my favorite of the 4 Chaos armies. If you're talking the straight Chaos armies, normally I like Nurgle, but I do not like the way that the campaign plays. Just the way the buildings work, just in my opinion, don't work. I've bounced off that campaign twice. I really like the legendary lord, whose name I forget off the top of my head, but he sits in a chair and he essentially is artillery, which I really enjoy. Just in general, I like artillery, but he's a fun lord. But his campaign just was really a chore to play. Khorne, I kind of like the brutality of it, but I really just can't kind of get into the you got to keep fighting battles in order to progress kind of campaigns. Those just don't work for me. I don't like Slaanesh. That's a lot of micromanagement, and it is too much for me. And I think you'll see on this, I pause my battles way more often than I should, as it is. So that kind of leaves Tzeentch, and I like a lot of Tzeentch's regular units are really solid. I like the way they play. I like the magic. And just end up having a lot of fun with this one. All right, here we go. We'll skip this. If you want to see the cinematic, by all means, check on that yourself.
Where to go and who to be.
Well, who to be indeed. Path to victory. Changeling thrives on sowing discord by enacting devious schemes across the world's theaters of war. Each theater's minor schemes set the stage for its grand scheme, a chaotic culmination of mischief unrivaled against the theater's main power. The Changeling must sufficiently destabilize the world via schemes in order to perform the most audacious prank of all, the ultimate scheme. Completing this masterstroke will earn the deceivers their campaign victory. Learn more about Tzeentch factions here. I like the schemes in general as a concept. The world is split into, just accept that. Here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different zones. Just little corners of the map, and each zone has a number of goals that they want you to accomplish, and each goal, if you succeed, has some sort of ongoing bonus for it. So, for instance, if we just win 15 land battles in the Empire, we will get Veterans of Change, and our recruit rank for all armies is +2. And I mean, you can't beat that. Like, they're all various levels of good, I suppose. Some of them are better than others, especially depending on the way you play. Beat dwarves. All characters get 10% ward save. That's super solid. Raise Tzeentch Corruption to 75 in Castle Drakenhof, which is actually fairly easy. Maintain it until the following turn. We get Trickster Rift in Sylvania, which is good. We get an additional Trickster Rift. And Bloodsucker Vein, we're immune to vampiric attrition. That one's kind of low, but honestly, the Rifts are really good. Rifts are similar to the Rifts in the Demon campaigns, where they basically let you teleport around the map, and we will put those to good use as we get them, but we have to get the Rifts through various means. We're not just given access to all of them that we want. Once we've done at least three of these, we can do the Grand Scheme in the Empire if we want, although we can do all 6. Grand Scheme will be a special map battle, and if we succeed, it'll give us some rewards. Empire is unable to reinforce my enemies in the Ultimate Scheme. The Ultimate Scheme is the final special campaign map battle, and if we succeed here, then the Empire won't reinforce our enemies there. Elector Counts descend into war. Kind of a funny little effect. I guess they all get set as at war with each other, but by the time we're done here, there probably aren't going to be that many of them left, and honestly, we're probably leaving, so we don't really care. It's just kind of funny. We get to obtain the form of A called Heldebress if we do not already have it. The big thing with the Trickster is that he can choose one form at a time, and in battle he can take on that form. And it's pretty much all of the legendary lords and a bunch of the legendary heroes. Maybe all of them. I'm not sure at this point if they've added more or what the total actually is. Of course, some of those are better than others, and I've heard the complaint, and I kind of agree. Some of the lords don't get their special items, they don't get maybe their special mounts. So you can be Karl Franz, but if you choose to be Karl Franz, you're just Karl Franz on foot. And then some of them are better than others. You can get Skarbrand, for instance, and then you're playing a siege campaign with Skarbrand running around. So it can be a little bit ridiculous. You get the Ruined Blade, melee attack plus 10, magical attacks, weapon strength plus 20%. It's a good weapon. They'll give us an additional Trickster Rift. So basically, even if you don't get any additional Trickster Rifts, for some reason in a zone, when you complete the final, the grand scheme of the area, they give you a Trickster Rift so that it'll allow you to teleport to another zone, and that's really handy. And then it'll give us surplus of supplies, cult supplies, plus 50 per turn. A big mechanic of our Tzeentch guy is we're putting cults into zones rather than taking control of them. We don't actually take control of any territory. We place cults. You have to complete 5 grand schemes to unlock the ultimate scheme battle. Currently we have 0 of 5, so of these 9, we have to beat 5 of them. And again, you can see you have to do a certain number of minor things in the areas before you can do the grand scheme in the areas. So most of them are 3, Darklands and Mountains of Morn are 4, Grand Cafe is 4. It looks like that's it. I'm not sure I've done Grand Cafe in any of the campaigns, so maybe we'll make a point to get over there. I usually start with the Empire. You're starting here anyways. It's kind of hard to just run off. Not that it's impossible, and there's some good stuff to pick up here. A lot of times I hit Badlands. Badlands. It's the Darklands. Yeah, Darklands have some really good income from parasitic buildings, income from stacking settlements, decent weapon, not all that great. Recruit rank again, upkeep minus 10% for all armies, cult supplies 250, missile strength plus 30% for all units in an army as a trinket, which is really good. So there's some really good stuff in here. Surplus of supplies against stuff. And you end up, if you complete the grand scheme, greenskin laborers rise up in rebellion against the evil dwarves or the chaos dwarves, which is also funny, but also not super helpful. And you get Gorda's Backstabber if you don't already have it. Alright, so that's the schemes. Empire is infiltrate any settlement in the Empire with a Trickster cult. That's super easy to do. We'll do that. We'll be doing that shortly. That lifts the shroud in the theater, revealing all terrain and settlements, which is handy. Casual replenishment rate plus 10% all armies if we destroy the Fecondites. Sorry, Nurgle, but unfortunately that's a really good ability. I believe if somebody else takes them out, that also counts for us too. And that is one of the issues with the schemes is, in one sense, some of them are time-locked because they require you to do something versus specific armies. And if those armies get taken out by somebody else, then that's just it. They're gone. So sometimes if there's something specific you want from certain ones, you gotta kind of rush in that area to get them. Sack Altdorf, not impossible, gives us steam tanks, which is also pretty funny. 15 land battles, which I learned it makes sense. That's not siege battles, that's actually inland, which actually makes that a little bit tricky, but it's not as bad as you might think. mainly because we can cause the changing of the ways. We can force rebellions, and we can attack those rebellions ourselves, which is actually something I do a lot. I usually do that basically on cooldown. Win 12 battles against the dwarves, a little annoying, that can take a while, but again, it gives us word save for all our characters, which is really good. And then the Zinj Corruption and Castle Drakenhof is actually super easy too. I just got to get a guy over there, mainly because we have spread corruption. It just requires us to have a guy in that zone, and the spread corruption will usually spread enough corruption to do it. Take a look at technology. I think at the end of the turn, diplomacy. We certainly don't have anything. Oh.
I lead.
I don't know if I care about that. Defensive alliance, military alliance. We don't really need anything. Nobody wants to be our vassal. Can't trade anything anyways. We don't hold land, and I don't really care about non-aggression pact with rats. We'll exit that out. Take a look at our objectives. Victory condition. So for short victory, we just unlock and win 2 grand scheme battles. So just 2 zones, and we're good with the short victory. And wins of magic power reserve plus 30 per turn all armies is really strong, especially for this army. Long campaign victory, achieve the short victory, which is, you have to do that. Unlock and win 5 grand scheme battles. That's fine. Win the ultimate scheme battle. You have to do all of this in order to do that anyway, so it's kind of irrelevant. It's literally just win the ultimate scheme battle. Lord Recruit rank is plus 10. That's good. It's a little weird for this one, mainly because by the time you've done that, even if you want to do the final victory of fighting the thing that comes after, you're probably not recruiting that many lords at that point. You're not painting the map with this army. You can't. You could put a cult in every zone, I suppose, but there's not really much point in that. So that's a little bit of a weird one. I guess you needed something there, but it seems odd to me.
The ultimate scheme shall be my magnum opus.
Let's see. So we get to start with Changeling. He's a good spellcaster, but honestly, he's mostly good for changing into other lords. We got Iridescent Modi Rob, the Orb Keeper, as our hero. Those guys are great. One of my favorite heroes at the end of the day, especially for an army like this. Once I get him on a disc, they move around quick. They cast spells, which is good, but honestly, their range attack is just really solid. The Zangors didn't impress me in the first place, and apparently they're weaker now. I really don't know about these guys. They got armor, which is great if you're comparing them to, say, Blue Horrors and Zinj as frontline guys. They got a barrier, but everybody's got a barrier. Melee attack is a little better than the Blue Horrors. Melee defense is a lot better, so they're going to hold the line better, which is good. They've got heavy armor, barrier. That's all great. Arcane Charge, so effective. Let's see, increases when nearby allies or enemies. So when we cast spells, they get better damage, better armor-piercing damage. That's kind of cool. Primal Fury. Fury is always good. I like it as an ability on guys. As long as your leadership's higher, you've got a little bit extra melee attack. Harder to take you down. Market Siege. Woodsman's is never really understood why that's got to be a thing. I don't know what can't pass through trees. Hide and Force is good though. Vanguard deployment is fine, but kind of weird in this. Resilience is effective. If I wanted a front line of shield guys, that's great. Honestly, Blue Horrors tends to be what I jump to for frontline because they get a couple of ranged attacks off as guys are coming in. They've already got the the barrier, and while they're not the greatest defenders, they'll stand for a while. They're pretty cheap, although more expensive than the Zangors. Maybe it's time to. Maybe this time around we'll be looking at more of a front line of those. Usually I do a line of blue horrors and then a couple of pink horrors behind them. Cockatrice is okay. Magic attack, poison attack, barrier for a flying creature is great because you can get him in and then back out of combat, let that barrier go back up and then get back in. I've always kind of assumed he's similar to the Manticore, at least in the way that you use them. I don't know, just kind of handy to have them. Chaos Furies of Tzeentch are fine. Again, they're Furies with barrier. Mainly, they're good for hitting from behind, and mostly what I use them for is tracking down running enemies and try and chase them off the board, because that's almost always worth doing. Oh, we start with Changebringers. Interesting. Flamers of Tzeentch, I love them. We'll have at least another one or two by the end of filling out this guy's army, if I have my way. Changebringers are supposed to be basically the same, but they're on discs. So yeah, their speed is plus 55. They get a little more hit points, and they get a charge bonus, making it a respectable charge bonus. That's great. Ammunition is only 10. That's the same thing for the Flamers, though, too. Yeah, all their other stats are basically the same. What's that? Strider. No, weird. Speed and combat penalties caused by terrain are ignored by this unit. I mean, they fly, so sure. So we start with those. I feel like that got swapped out for something else, and I wonder what that other thing was, but I guess it's not that important.
What a phantasmagoria
I'm not gonna recruit yet.
we make.
At this point now, a decent set of Regiments of Renown, which I really like, although some of these are contingent. So there's the Steam Tank stuff. We can get a Feral Carnosaur, which is hilarious. Cult Voider, I feel like that's a new thing. Grand Scheme in Norska and Kislev Theater, maybe it's not. So yeah, we'll head out for that, and the rest of them I think are just level dependent. So that's cool. So yeah, a decent starting army for certainly for fighting. Needling, you'll have basically nothing. Here we go.
The Changeling.
Oh, there it is. Formless Horror. Here's the list of guys that he can be. I thought that he gets to start with one, but maybe I'm wrong on that. I mean, obviously I'm wrong on that. We don't have one. So these are the forms that he can take on. Sisters of Twilight. I don't think I've ever gotten that one. And again, mileage may vary. We'll end up getting Festus, and Festus is one of the stronger ones. But, you do you. If you like a specific guy, then head for that. Some of these you kind of get for free in a lot of ways. Sometimes you get stuff for random. But Festus will be one that we'll be looking for, and he's one that's usually pretty easy to get. I believe you just have to defeat them in one battle to get them. I don't think you have to defeat their kingdom, and then a lot of them you get just as rewards for different things. I think you get some random ones too. Scarbrand is definitely one that we'd want. Usually I try to get Festus and then kind of upgrade to Scarbrand if I can. Nope, wrong guy. Just Scarbrand is just too solid a choice. Mother of Thinkia, she's also a good choice, although I think they took a bunch of hit points away from her, so she's a little softer now than she was before. Lord Mazdamundi, I've never actually gotten him as an option. Oh, there he is. Kugath, that is the Nurgle guy Legendary Lord that I was talking about. He's essentially artillery sitting in a floating chair. Not floating, carried by Nurglings. I like him a lot too. He's also a solid choice. So we don't get to choose any at this point. We don't have any. Skills, quests, details. Yeah. -1 Winds of Magic for lore medals, but that's on the hero, and that's where we want that. It's not my favorite, but
The colors
more for
of
him than it will
Kor's
for
flesh
anything else.
melted down
Let's change
so
our
nice
movement
to make his
fastest
blast
and
alarm
fastest,
defeats.
and go ahead and get into
As
needling
con-
and see what we can do. Close victory. We will fight this battle. They've got 3 swordsmen, 3 spearmen, which aren't going to do jack to us, except for we'll have to watch out for the cockatrice and make sure they somehow don't get on our flamers, which would be weird. Crossbowmen, they're only ranged. They're a small army, but so are we. But pretty sure Chaos Furies and maybe the cockatrice can take care of the crossbowmen. We'll fight this manually just to show some fighting. I'm kind of back and forth on, depending on how successful the auto-resolve is, on which ones I fight and which ones I don't. If I can avoid fighting it, especially if they're siege battles, I will avoid fighting them. But I guess we will explore that as we play the campaign. You'll get to see my playing style for this. I really do enjoy smashing large monsters into groups of soldiers, like playing toys when I was a little kid. Sometimes these battles get a little stressful for me, so I do a lot of pausing and try to make sure everybody's where they should be, and even then it's easy to make mistakes. I will try to lower the amount of pausing I do in these battles, though, so that they aren't boring as we watch. Unfortunately, my maps load slow. The SSD on my computer is no longer has enough room to hold this, so I don't get the quick loading that I did in the past. I never channel magic. I feel like it's even worse in Total War 3 than it was before, and it was pretty bad before. Okay, we're probably just going to have to march up that hill towards them. We're attacking, so they probably are not going to come down for us. Let's flank that guy, and try and have those guys as wide as they can to hold that front line. No, that's probably not going to work, is it? It's a bad map for those guys.
I will
Just kind of have those guys in the center. None of them are flying yet. And then, yeah, that is going to be. We'll have them come up over the hill and just probably burn out those crossbowmen. Come to think of it. Set those as a set. Go ahead and start. Basically just want to go up that hill. Just have them kind of circle back as a group. The only thing that they've got to worry about are the crossbows, and I have a feeling that our new Changebringers are going to annihilate those guys. So let's just have them fly straight over. Actually, that's a pause. Okay, wanted to check and see if they fire on the move. They don't. It's probably pretty good range. Let's see what that does. Yeah, that's... yeah, it's quarter the damage right off the bat. Sure. Why not? Okay. Couple of spells in there already. Okay. That is what I'm going to do. Keep Bomb those guys, please. Not as good a second shot. I don't know why they're not keeping up. But let's take 2 sets of Warp Flame. How is that going to do for you? Okay, so that's good. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and have, actually let's have the Furies finish those guys off. There we go. Yeah, those guys will be gone. Flame is just wiping these guys out.
The Changeling!
Magic yet, and that's over. Nice. And battle. Turned out good. As I said, I paused quite a bit. I don't have the, spatial recognition to be quickly making sure everybody's in where I want them at. That just isn't me. But hopefully that wasn't too bad. We can already look. Zangors took a little bit of damage, which is not surprising, as they were basically our only front line. The Blue Horrors got into it a little bit, but really didn't lose anything. Only lost 18 guys, which is good. The Warp Flame just really, it burns out regular little guys. And that's not including having them get, blue flamer stuff thrown at them or anything like that. So I really like those. I like the flying ones. That's a little more expensive, but probably swap all my flamers to those later in the campaign. So that'll be fun to play with. Changeling on here says he didn't kill anybody. Maybe he didn't. Take a quick look at some of the damage. The flying ones says they killed 62, and looks like they were basically the MVP as far as deaths go. And that's not too surprising. They got on those crossbowmen pretty quick and then turned around and hit those spearmen pretty hard. My regular flamers took a little while to get up there and really only got off a couple of shots, but even they got 43. Zangors did pretty good, actually. 38 kills in the time that we were fighting as a front line. Yeah, time. Yeah, may re-examine whether or not I keep those or not in this army. I believe last time I played I swapped out and my front line was just Exalted, just Blue Flamers, or Blue Horrors, with a backup of Pink Horrors. Again, they'll last long enough, at least at this level, that that'll work out as a front line. But maybe we'll try the Zangors a little bit more this time. Just wasn't all that impressed with them before. Decisive victory, huzzah. Yeah, see that changed. He killed 45. I don't know why that one is different. Value 443. Couple hundred. He didn't do much, but I didn't really have anybody. So yeah, the Changebringers, gold value of 443. Got the highest kills. We got 5 Grimoires. We need both. Will come up Grimoires and then Cult. I forget what they are, books or whatever, for some of our stuff. Favor we need experience. It's great. Check. What do we want to do with Settlement, Symbiotic, and Parasitic? I normally go Symbiotic unless I'm doing something interesting. or I can raise it. So we're going to do a symbiotic trickster cult. Established. And we've done our first scheme, Imperial Subterfuge. We have infiltrated a settlement in the Empire Theater with a trickster cult. Your first step in any theater should be to sow the seeds of mayhem. The shroud will be lifted so we can see all of the terrain and armies in the Empire, so that's kind of handy. It helps with planning at the very least. Also, we've captured the following settlement and established trickster cult needlings. We get hero recruited at the Changeling, trickster cultist, and we get some extra grimoires. Great. You have established a trickster cult and needling Sterland. Check. Mission issued. Use your trickster cultist to establish a trickster cult in any settlement. It's always amusing when fools believe their defenses keep them safe. Sinch will grant a random form for the Changeling to assume, plus 50 grimoires if we do that. So, this guy doesn't have any skills because all he does is establish trickster cults, essentially for basically free. Not totally free, but cheap. In a city, he automatically does it, similar to the Skaven's engineers, Undercity guys. The trick is, I can do it in the Empire Theater in a different city, and there are reasons, good reasons to do that, in fact. Or I can run him into one of the other zones and establish a cult there and see. Usually means we get to see the zone area. Yeah, so infiltrate, and then the shroud would be lifted in that, so it means we'd automatically have one done in other zones. And honestly, it's not that hard to do that in Norska Kislev, because I can just run them up north and do it up there and kind of already be seeing that zone. It's recruitment to ruin, global recruitment capacity, local +1. Oh, and then that gets me the Chaos Frost Dragon. I do want that quest pretty quick though too. A random form is very handy for me. Trickster cultists are unfortunately few and far between. Where to get Flensburg? Looking at where's my guy? I guess we do. We start with Flensburg as a cult. Yeah. Okay, so we'll look at that in a minute. So really just have to run him like up here, which will just take a few turns. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Head on up there. That's fine. We can survive. So the big advantage here is Needling has a trickster cult in this settlement. So in Needling's zone, all my armies get this eye, which means we're hidden from enemies. So enemies cannot see us. We dodge back into the shadows and are undetectable. That works most of the time. I have had a couple of times where I'm sure that I was hidden from enemies and still got attacked. I am not 100% positive, but looking on forums and stuff, it looks like if they happen to just run right over your guy, there's a chance that they will encounter them. Also, one of the stances we can take is raiding, and I think raiding makes you visible, even though it doesn't say it on here. It seems like every time I've been raiding, I've gotten attacked. So, you gotta watch out. Right now, we should be invisible to the enemies, so we attacked Needling, got some money, established a cult, and once again become invisible so they can't attack us. Right off the bat, we're taking Route Marcher. Normally with a spellcasting lord, I'll take Route Marcher, and then I will take their spell line first rather than a blue line. Recruitment cost, usually aren't that impressed. Winds of Magic is a really good one, though. Income from rating is not my favorite. Tzeentch Corruption is fine. Irrepressible is basically the same for everybody. Lightning Strike is something I sometimes take and sometimes don't, but usually don't use it. Upkeep reduction is always great for later. This one is really good. Grimoires, you get 3 per turn, and if you've maxed it out, you get it extras from all buildings in the local province, which isn't the greatest, but it's still decent. Casualty replenishment rate is always great, but it's late on it's in the second section of his blue line, which I don't like. And the Renowned and Feared gives him additional upkeep reduction, that extra 5% campaign movement, recruit rank +1. It's okay, not great. Movement and upkeep is the big thing. So he's got a good blue line because not everybody has the extra upkeep, it seems like now. But he's got so much other stuff that's really kind of important. So it's the blue line tends to be something I go with later. Void Wrangler, he likes the big monster guys. He gets a bonus to those, but he gets a whole line essentially for his forms. I'm just you, but better. So when he transforms, he gets melee attack, weapon strength, and melee defense. So he's actually better than the base, anyways. That doesn't include whatever those legendary lords' magic weapons and stuff might have been added to. Extra ammunition. I almost never take a ranged lord as this guy. There's almost no point in my opinion. Kugath would be about the only one because that's artillery and not just a ranged thing. Although if I get the Sisters, maybe we'll try the Sisters. Cooldown to -20% to all spells. Winds of Magic cost -10. That's great, but because of his Changeling ability, I don't cast spells with him a ton. Red Hot Jape. Access the assumed forms battle abilities when using Formless Horror. That's good. If they have special abilities, you get them. Post-battle chance of stealing a magical item, +100%. That's also really good. Campaign movement range, +20% after winning a battle is okay. We're not Khorne though, so it's not my favorite. Extra armor while transformed, charge bonus while transformed, speed while transformed, really good. Armor of Lies, physical resistance while transformed, also really good. Spell intensity 10%. Again, my casting with him is actually not the most, especially once I get the twins, the 2 blue horror guys. Access the assumed form spells when using Formless Horror. That can end up being pretty good, especially depending on who you're taking. It kind of means that you may have the ability to take healing spells. Cooldown -50% to Formless Horror isn't that big a deal. Attribute Vanguard deployment for the Lord's Army. That can be really good. Anytime you have a full army, Vanguard deploying can really just kind of break some fights. So this tends to be the first line that we'll be really pushing on because it really pumps up his transformations, and then it just that last ability, the Vanguard deployment, and then accessing spells is really good. We'll do the adherence of the Trickster stuff when that starts to come up. We don't even get access to that till level 12. Void Wrangler, I really like those the Mutalith Vortex beasts. So we'll certainly get that when we can start getting those. Perplexing Meddler. It is just a -20% armor to all enemies in the region, -15% speed. It is just an amazing 1-point ability. So as soon as we can get that, that's trying to remember to get that. Missile resistance 10%. I usually only grab those when either right before or right after lords and heroes are getting mounts, because then that's going to make them more of a target. But that'll probably be something I pick up for him, even though he'll never get a mount. A lot of the stuff that I transform into end up being large creatures. Master Schemer, Diplomatic Relations, and Hero Success Chance. I usually pick that up even though, honestly, at the end of the day, diplomatic relations, we don't really care. We get to hide everywhere, so it almost doesn't matter. We can't trade with people. We're not really interested in, like, confederating or having vassals. So, it's handy, but it's not something we're really looking for. Didn't get anything out of that. I've got no movement left, so that's fine. Hire mercenaries if you wanted to. That's always kind of funny right at the beginning. We will actually do that.
Who serves change best?
Just to pump us up a little bit. Get me a few more of those. That didn't eat up all my money, so that's good. So take a look at what we got. So Needling, we did a symbiotic building. There are 2 building chains, symbiotic and parasitic, and they are really similar to each other. And this is the one we wanted. Disguised trade, or is it? No, I don't think it is. Or maybe it is. So symbiotic will lower discoverability, which is here. Yeah. And so it will give us income from the local settlement's income. And it'll tell you what it is. This is a small settlement. We get 50% of that, so we only get 22. But we increase the income from their buildings so that we can get more. So we can actually help them out, which is kind of a funny thing. We also have a thing that will get us cult supplies, which is what those are, and then the grimoires adds control and again lowers discoverability. We can get a thing that has a chance to expand the trickster cult to a different adjacent region. We'll be doing a lot of that. We can get siege corruption, and then eventually an army loyal to the Changeling is summoned on the building completion, which I almost never do. Improve diplomatic relations with the settlement owner over time. Chance of winds of magic increasing in strength when changing, plus 25% discovery lowered. The improving diplomatic relations, it's hard to say how much it actually does. I have, in 2 campaigns, tried to do this and make dwarves like me, and that just doesn't work. So, kind of given up on the Court of Whispers. The parasitic versions give us a different set of cult supplies or grimoires. This one is 2 and 8. This gives us 3 and 4. Lowers control and increases siege corruption, but all of the parasitic buildings increase discoverability. So if we build these, the red bar goes up, and then the chance of them finding and destroying the cult is increased. The income one is just a set income as you go through. It ends up at 450, and that's actually, we would rather have had that than the disguised trade. When you choose either symbiotic or parasitic, it gives you a random building, I believe. This one also has a chance to expand Trickster Cult, which is higher. It ends up going up to 12, whereas this only ends up going up to 6. Both of them cost money, but this increases discoverability by 60%. So if you want to use the highest one, you want to make sure that you have symbiotic buildings to lower it. This can increase all 4 corruption from demons. And then eventually an army of demonic rebels hostile to everyone will arrive through a rift and wreak havoc, which I guess, again, is funny, but isn't all that helpful in a lot of cases. You can also build the Underground Temple or Unholy Cathedral, which increases diplomatic relations with Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen, Norsca, and Tzeentchian factions. More importantly, gives us casualty replenishment rate if we're in the region, and siege corruption, and isn't very high for discoverability. Replenishment rate goes up, so does the diplomatic relations. Again, diplomatic relations with these guys, not all that great. You can get you can make alliances and get yourself some mercenaries from those guys, but a lot of those aren't going to be better than your regular stuff, mainly because of your barrier. Although I love getting war mammoths from Norsca, those are always fun. Halls of Despoiling increases corruption, and then if you get it all the way up, the settlement is plundered, stealing wealth and damaging buildings. It does a bunch of damage, and gets you money. Don't do that very often either. So we look at Flensburg, which we started with a cult, and this actually has basic military, and that's how we'll get our military buildings, is by building them secretly in our cult zones, but they increase discoverability for everyone that we have, so you got to be careful a little bit. They took the Raiders bounty, so they took the parasitic income ability, which is good. It's much better than the other one. Yeah, we want pink horrors, so we will 1,000 for that, 2,000 to increase our income from 150 to 300. Not build an extra building, that actually puts us almost out of money. I could swap that over, and that, man. Oh no, I don't have the cult supplies to do it, which is kind of the big thing. We need cult supplies to, not only money, but cult supplies to build stuff. And that is why that is why we need the sanctums or the houses. That is all we can do there, though, for this turn. Research is available, so let's take a look at the research. At the beginning, we only have one option. We're doing Way of the Trickster, which will get us a supply of stuff and casualty replenishment of 10%. That's great. Sure. It's a free pick, but also we have to choose it. Then we can go off whichever way we want, and there are a bunch of different things to do here. We can summon a Trickster Cultist in the different areas, but we need a Trickster Cultist available, which we don't have, and we get those from completing quests, completing schemes specifically. Same thing, we can open up rifts in different areas, but we need a rift available, which we get from schemes. A bunch of Winds of Magic stuff, which gets us some good abilities. This is where we get our army abilities, which we really want. We can make our Lord of Change units get special abilities. But the big thing is this is where we get our army abilities. Some boons for certain specific units, and honestly, some of these are good. Extra missile strength is great, although I really would like to see extra ammo. Passive abilities for those guys. Piercing Screams isn't that great. Recruit rank +2 is, it is what it is. Not impressive is what it is. We have to unlock all of our Changing of Ways abilities, and honestly, after a couple campaigns, I'm only going to unlock a really small handful of these because most of them I don't think are good. And in army boons, we'll get most if not all of this, because there's a lot of really good stuff in here. Lord Recruit Rank +3 is just really good. Hero Recruit Rank bonus, Hero Recruit Rank bonus for different things, casualty replenishment rate, and local recruitment capacity. Teleport stance usage costs -100%. Big deal. We want that. But we start with the Way of Trickster, and then we'll move on from there.
The means to my schemes.
Like that. We will go ahead and end that turn. And wait, currently there are 282 different factions in the game. I spoke too soon. There go 2 of them. Oh, there goes another one. It doesn't take long for that to chop down to 150 or so. But again, that's not going to matter too much to us, except for there's a few schemes that require those guys to be around when we get there to do anything with them, and a lot of times we won't. We just won't be. Faction destroyed, sure. Yay, we got that. What's the next thing we want to do? Master your scheming, unit experience per turn +100, and experience gain per turn 50% is pretty good. Alliance points gained 50%, global recruitment and local recruitment capacity also really good. If I want to get past those, I have to get that out of the way. Track army, I don't like. Transfer settlement is actually really handy. Force peace can be handy, but this is we don't really need any of these yet. The one we want... We don't automatically have it, do we? No, that's the one we want. We want Force Rebellion. But I have to get one of these first. Yeah, I think probably we will want to do that. So we will take Transfer Settlement. That'll only take 2 turns, and then we'll do Way of Deceit. They basically give us free fights, and we need those.
What tricks
Hero got a thing. Skill for him. I've never been impressed with the training as a skill. We're not going to use him as a assassin hero. He's just going to be a caster in my army, so we're going to give him a point in Searing Doom, given that we can't do any of the rest of this stuff. He doesn't get the disc till 6. I'm not a big fan of metal, but that's what he starts with. Honestly, it's not bad. Like, I know a lot of people really like it a lot. It's just not my favorite. But it's a solid magic set. His main thing is he gets to fly and his range attacks are pretty good. There's not really any reason to take Word Bad, other than we can. Actually, we probably can't yet. That'll be a tougher fight. But he's got more guys than I want. Given that I get income based off of either having or how successful these guys are, I don't need other people raising them down. Although, if they take control of them, our cultists will stay. But if he comes in and raises the place, he will destroy the cult. And something, unless they've changed it, and we'll probably end up trying that at some point, if I attack Needling again, my only option is to raise the settlement. I can't do anything else because the cult is already there. And while I suppose once in a while that might be a handy thing to do, I almost never want to raise a place where I already have a cult because that is how I'm getting all my stuff. Maybe we run down and changing of the ways, spread corruption into there because we pick that up real quick and just kind of let this go and not worry too much about getting experience for a little while. That seems like maybe what we want to do. So let's go down that way. Okay, so we'll go to the edge of this. I'm making a lot of income. Go with an extra one of those guys, but not more than that. So yeah, we'll run over to Castle Drakenhof. We will hit spread corruption on my guy, and he will spread corruption up to 75% over about 3 turns. But then that'll hit that scheme and have that done, which will be not changing place. Which will be the Sylvanian Rift. So it'll be 75. It'll open a Trickster Rift here. I forget precisely where it is, but I'm pretty sure it's close to here. It'll give me an available Trickster Rift, and it'll give me immune to vampiric attrition, which is handy. Unfortunately, I believe the Trickster Rift that I'll need to use is in the Empire Theater, so it'll end up giving me a rift here, and then I think the other one is... I think it's up in this range, but I'm not sure. It's been a little while. End turn, and this we'll let this play out, but this will be the end of this session for the Changelings 4.2.0 update. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully you had fun. If you have any comments on my playstyle or any questions that I might be able to answer, I am no expert at the game. I have been playing for a while, but I am far from any kind of expert. He's getting there. We want to get up to Erengrad. I think that's where we'll put his cult. But I'm happy to try and answer them for you if I can. Really do enjoy this game. Total War Warhammer as a series, and specifically Warhammer 3, one of my top 3 games of all time, or at least current top 3 games. I really enjoy the Warhammer setting. is fun. I've been playing that for a long time, and I really enjoy this version of it. I've never played any other Total War games before this. I've looked at a couple of them and honestly have no interest in playing any of them. I see. That guy did. He raised my needling. It says the cult stays, but there's no town there now. I look at the Total War medieval and stuff and go, oh, but there aren't dinosaurs, dragons, and magic there. I'm just not interested. So this really is the only Total War for me, but I really enjoy it, and I have a lot of fun, and I look forward
My
to
tricks don't have to
doing
result in
some more
chaos,
campaigns
but
and
it's much more
letting you
fun
watch. So
when
hopefully you
I
enjoyed
do.
Pop Plays. Join me next time. Again, I'm not quite sure when these are going up, but we will find out. Bye.